Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach, and today I'm talking about the 5 signs your ex is starting to regret the breakup and starting to regret losing you, regret dumping you. Okay, so first number 1 sign, right, and this is the main one that they are perhaps starting to regret the breakup and perhaps they even want to get back with you, and that is they reach out to you. And it's not like they're replying to your message, they are initiating the conversation. They are reaching out to you first. So that means they may call you up or they may message you, right? And they'll say something like, hey, how are you? What have you been up to these days? And then you may have a little conversation with them. If you want them back, obviously, you may not want them back. And I always believe that, your ex is an ex for a reason. So it's always good to be very, 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 very cautious when an ex comes back into your life. Even if you still kind of want them back, you should still kind of keep them on probation for a long time. And basically, when they message you, it's solely about you. They're solely asking about you, inquiring about you, and they're trying to prolong the conversation, right? If they're talking to you about like other things, or the conversation leads to other things, such as when can I pick up my stuff, when can we sort this out, if it's anything about finalizing the relationship, then that's not a good sign. If you have kids or things like that with them, then it's not a good sign if the conversation then leads to, oh, can you go and pick so and so up from school, or they're asking you about something to do with the kids and it's something to do about you doing something in regards to the kids, because that's the real reason they reached out to you. Also, if you work with your ex, right, if they start talking to you and then it leads into them talking to you about work, about, oh, can you send these files to so and so, can you give me that list of clients, or our boss wants us to do this, then it's the reason why they reached out is probably because of the work, but probably, and they just started off with, hey, how are you, to be nice and to be polite and basically like that. But if your ex wants to get back with you, then it would be solely about you. They'll be asking about what you've been up to, they'll be asking about how you are, and it doesn't lead to some kind of ulterior motive, which could be the real reason why they reached out to you. Okay, so you need to be very careful with that. So don't always assume straight away if your ex says, hey, how are you, that it's going to be them wanting to be with you, right? But the real sign there that your ex is starting to regret the breakup is they will message you, and the message will just be about you, talking about you, and they'll try to prolong the conversation and keep the conversation going. Okay. And what you need to do then is, if you want your ex back, then you ask them, hey, yeah, it's been really good talking to you, it's been good hearing from you, we should have a catch up sometime, when are you free, right? And then you arrange to meet up, and then on that date you can maybe try and reconcile things if that's what you want, right? If you don't want your ex back, then it's probably a good idea to make that clear to them in some kind of way, like, hey, you know what, I know you're talking to me and stuff, but I just wanted to let you know we can be friends if you want to, but I'm just letting you know that I'm not interested in you anymore romantically, just in case that's what your intention was. Or you may even just want to block them flat out and not speak to them again if you can help it, basically. Okay, so another sign that your ex is starting to regret the breakup, and this one is a little bit more up in the air, a little bit more up into interpretation, and sometimes it can depend on your circumstances, but they act differently on social media now, right? So it could be that they're posting a lot of sad quotes or sad posts about breakups and things, or it could be that they started to add you again on social media platforms, so they started to like your posts again, they're starting to watch your stories, and it just sort of suddenly just starts to happen, right? Now, obviously, this isn't a sign of no contact breaking. So when your ex likes your post or they re-add you, you should not be the one who is initiating the conversation. Just hold off and wait for them to reach out to you, because you don't know why they've re-added you or why they're looking at your stories. You don't know the real reason behind that, because a lot of the time an ex may just look through your stuff and want to add you again because they're just being nosy. They may just want to have a snoop and see what you're doing. And sometimes it's a bit mean, but sometimes it is the reason why exes do that. And that is that they add you again on social media, or they start looking through your social media posts again, start watching your stories, because they want to make sure that they're doing better than what you are, right? And it's kind of like gives them an ego boost to see if you're still deflated by the breakup and things like that. So it's really important that you put on your best front when it comes to social media. Maybe don't post that much so you can look a bit more mysterious. Maybe like post like once every 2 months or something. So it makes you look mysterious. And when you do post, make sure it's a positive post, not something sad or mopey or depressing. Make sure it's something like an achievement, or perhaps you're just really happy about the way something went. Like perhaps you got a promotion at work, or perhaps you got a new car or something like that. Or perhaps you managed to bench press something that you've, weight that you've never been able to do before, or something like that. Make it into achievement or something you're proud of or something you're happy about. Or it could be that someone has tagged you in stuff. Always let people tag you in stuff on nights out and things like that, so it can look like you've got like a good social life and things like that. But basically, they act differently on social media. But like I said, don't take it with a grain of salt, because they might just be doing this because they're nosy, and maybe they even want to see how you're going to react if they like a post. Because what they're trying to do is they're fishing to see if you still care, it could be. So that means they like one of your posts and they're going to see if you're going to start liking their post. Or they watch your story and see if you're going to watch their story, which of course you never want to do if you can't help it, okay? So another sign that your ex is starting to regret the breakup is if their friends or your mutual friends are fishing for information about you, right? So this could be them asking if you're still single, asking if you're over the breakup, basically inquiring about what you're doing with your life these days, right? And you have to be a bit suspicious of that. So if you do notice that some of your ex's friends are starting to talk to you and starting to ask you personal questions about yourself, or it could be even mutual friends as well. You need to be very careful if you've got mutual friends with your ex, because they could relay information about you to them, and maybe that if you're too honest with them, they might relay the wrong things that you don't want them to know about. You don't want your ex to know about. So essentially, then, if you've got mutual friends or you got other friends like your ex's friends reaching out to you, then when they ask you personal questions, what you want to do is you want to just keep it a bit mysterious. Like if they say, are you dating anyone new? All you have to say is, well, you know what, I'm not one of those kinds of people that kisses and tells, and then just leave like a little winky emoji and things like that. And that would just keep it nice and mysterious. So when they relay that information, if they are going to relay that information back to your ex, it's going to make your ex even more curious, basically, right? Which is something you want if you want your ex to come back into your life, or if you want them to regret the breakup, right? So just be very aware of those things. So another sign that your ex is starting to regret the breakup, and this is more if you see them about in person. So for example, if you go to school with them, or if you go to work with them, or if you have to kind of see them at family gatherings because you've got kids and you have to go to mutual parties and things like that. Or you have, like I said, like mutual friends that you go to different events with, right? So if you start to notice that they're acting a little bit different when you're around, let's say they become overly enthusiastic, right? Or they start to become really sad and mopey and kind of a little bit attention seeking, right? They're looking sad because they're hoping that you're going to actually come up to them and ask, oh, what's wrong, right? Or something like that. Or they're acting like I said, like way too enthusiastically and showing off a little bit as well. Like if they're doing that and you can tell that they're overcompensating, then you can tell that there's something going on with them that makes them feel a bit off when it comes to your presence, right? And that being said though, right, you've got to make sure that you don't do these things, right, if you're in the presence of your ex. So you don't become overly enthusiastic or start acting sad and mopey, right? Don't do those things, because therefore that's going to make something click with them and think, aha, they're not over it. They're acting way differently when I'm around, right? So what you've got to understand with that then is that when you are around your ex and you can't avoid it, basically, what I always say to people is if you go to school, if you go to work with your ex, always treat them in a really neutral manner. So think of the most neutral person who you go to work with, who you go to school with, and basically treat them like that neutral person. Someone who you don't really like, someone who you don't really hate, but someone who you're just polite to and say hello to, and their presence just doesn't bother you, right? They're just a NPC in your life, basically, right? And if you treat them like an NPC, then that's going to be, or like someone who's super neutral, then you're going to come across a lot better. So don't do what they may do, but don't become overly enthusiastic or start acting sad and mopey around them, because that's going to scream to them that you're not over it, and you want them to believe that you are over it, because that's what's going to make them feel like they're losing you and want to reach out to you, right, and want to try and rekindle things if that's what you want. Okay, so the last sign that your ex is starting to regret the breakup is they suddenly start putting themselves in your orbit, right? So again, this is something that you will only find if you still have to be around your ex. So for example, if you go to school or work together, basically if you work on a different side of the building, or you go to your classes are on a different side of the building, and then suddenly they're where you are now, and they're putting themselves around you, they may even come up and talk to your friends, they're putting themselves in your orbit basically, and they want your attention basically. That's what they're conveying there. So if someone likes you, then they're going to want to be around you more, right? If someone regrets the breakup, they're going to want to try and be around you more and hope that you're going to reach out and start speaking to them, right? So if they start hanging around in places where you are and they shouldn't be there because they should be at the other side of the building or in a different department, then you know that something is going on there, and perhaps they like you, right? And they still want to be with you maybe, right? So that's something else as well. They'll try and put themselves in your orbit. Okay, so those are the signs basically that your ex is starting to regret the breakup. Obviously, whatever you do with these signs are up to you. If you want to get back with your ex, then when they reach out to you, ask them when they're available to have a catch up. But if you don't want to get them back, and I always think it's a good idea not to really get back with your ex, then just ignore it and just allow basically the things to just fall where they may, right? Or you may want to block them, or you may want to let your intentions be clear and say, look, I'm not interested at all in getting back with you if they do reach out to you. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to get in touch with me personally and you'd like coaching with me, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.